The ecological footprint for me is a big responsibility. I think that every human being has to take it very serious because we don't have the time. In the context of my country, Ecuador, and in Latin America, little by little, especially young people, are very concerned about what's happening with the environment, with the climate change, with water issues and other things that has to be with life. I think new generations are getting more and more into solutions about how to improve this relation between people, human beings, and the earth, the planet. It is a big fight between using of resources, like for example my country depends a lot on oil resources and also in gold resources, mining resources. The problem is that the biggest part of these resources are on the Amazon. Ecuador is part of the Amazon countries. Half our territory is Amazonic. Then it is a big fight between the people that want to maintain it and people that want to develop this kind of the exploitation of resources. We have good laws. Our constitution says for the first time in the world that they are the rights of nature. It's the only constitution in the world. And in terms of law we have. The other issue is how we can manage it and how we can put good policies to prevent and to use the resources in a sustainable way. Ecuador had signed all the agreements and we are a lot involved on this, but inside the country we have to work harder. I'm very positive about the future, and I think the future will be best than the past. In the contrary sense, like other people say, that the past is always better than the future. I don't agree with that. I think the future will be better. And I put my desires and my work in two fields. One is science evolution, because I'm very, very positive about the mankind, how we can develop science. On the other hand, I have education like a big tool, and I'm personally really involved in educational issues because I think the new generations, they have to use the tools that science provides to make it a better world, to improve the footprint, to improve the statistics, but also the quality of life. It's not only a question of governments, it's not a question of the local authorities, that they are very important because the policies come from these authorities, but also is the conviction that you have that you, with your action, you can improve the measures and you can have a better quality of life in the planet, because we are now consuming more than a planet and a half in August, I think it was the day. But what happens with the rest of the year? Are we going to consume another half planet? If we go directly to that, it's going to a catastrophic end. Then it has to be a personal commitment of every person in the planet to make it better, to use in a very rational and in a very creative way the resources that we have. I know that the amount of population that we have in the planet, the whole planet, is compelling the planet to a bad end. But at the same time, we are evolving our minds. We are more creatives. We have the tools that our ancestor doesn't have in the past. Then we can create and build a better future. That's a role for everybody. I put a lot of hope in local authorities because they can feel on the skin the needs of the people more than the people that is in Washington or in Quito or in whatever. The role of NGOs is big also, and every day it's growing. I am the leader of an NGO now, and we are working especially in educational efforts to how to create the new leaders for the new era that we are living, how to improve quality of education with teachers, how to deal with environmental issues in society. Everything is valid to work on it. And I think also, because you asked me about the role of the governments has to do good laws. You have a framework, that is the Constitution and the laws, but also the rule is coming directly to the people, how the government can manage it. And it's not only by punishment, because you can put a lot of penalties, and people is trying to avoid the penalties, but not because they are convinced. The big issue is how to convince the people that everyone has a responsibility, and everyone has to deal with their own garbage, with their own things that are used in everyday life. And companies, big companies, of course, they have to also work on it. Then it's a responsibility of everybody.